Hi, if you haven't heard of me, I'm Natasha Wiebe, Relationship and Confidence Strategist with Fix Your Life Solutions. Today, we're going to talk about a very important subject on how not saying no or saying nothing is a perfectly valid response to sexual assault, or SA. This may be a trigger for some of you. I ask you to bear with me because I'm really hoping that it can be of service to help you understand and process if this is something that you've gone through. There are three parts of the brain that we act from. One is stress and survival mode. This is where your fight and your flight and your freeze and your fawn, the two others that don't get talked about as much. Fawning is people pleasing. Those are the brain's four stress responses. So I'll repeat those again. Fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Fawn being people pleasing. When a brain is in survival mode, it is only doing what it can to survive that moment. When it can move out of that, it moves into the emotional processing. Emotional processing is where people feel safe enough to laugh out of overwhelm, to cry, to grieve, to get angry. When they have the time and space to process through all of their emotions, they move into the third, which is the creative, the solutions, the problem solving. What happens is that people have been living in a stress mode or survival mode for longer than what the brain was meant for. A person was only ever supposed to live in survival mode for a very, very brief time. Basically, about the time it takes to get away from a bear. For instance, if someone is in the woods and being chased by a bear, they are in that stress or survival mode. Typically, that would be flight, and they are trying to run to their vehicle or run to a safe spot. They get to their vehicle, they get in, the bear's outside, they still have their adrenaline high. That bear then turns, walks away, it's disinterested. That person then gets to calm down a bit. When they are calming down, that might be when they start to laugh just uncontrollably. How did that happen? What just happened? The brain is trying to process its emotions. When it goes through that, maybe then it's the crying because they're coming down from the adrenaline crash. And all those tears come up, they're processing, and because that was really scary. And then might be the anger. Oh my God, why was my dog off leash? Why didn't I bring bear spray, right? Maybe there's that blame, there's that guilt, there's that self-anger. All the things that we could have, would have, should have done. When a brain can fully process through all those emotions and move into the creative space where the forgiveness and the healing can happen, great. That's where the healing happens. But what happens is if that person is in the vehicle and all of a sudden they hear a buzzing and they're allergic to bees, or it's a murder hornet. So they just finished laughing uncontrollably and they hear this bee. Now they have to figure out, do I go out there where the bear is or do I stay in here where the murder hornet is? And all of a sudden their processing got interrupted and they're now right back into that stress or survival mode. So maybe they finally, as they go to open the door to get out, murder hornet flies and they're like, okay, I can stay in here, I am safe in here. But it takes their brain longer to feel safe. So that emotional processing takes longer to happen because their brain goes, well, the last time I was processing this, I got interrupted. So am I really safe? What happens when it comes to sexual assault? Sexual assault normally occurs by people that we know, like, or trust. It's typically family members, trusted trusted authority figures, or teachers, or religious factors, coaches. Unfortunately, family members. Unfortunately, a lot of the times it is people that we know or trust, babysitters. It can happen to all genders. It can, and assaults can be perpetrated by all genders. As a relationship and confidence strategist, I work with people all the time, unfortunately, where when we've been having our consultation or we've been having our session, and I've had to ask, do you realize that that was assault? So breaking down some of the double standards. The biggest aspect is a lot of these people go, well, I didn't say no. I didn't push them away. That is a perfectly valid response to sexual assault. It is valid, it is normal, and it is okay to have reacted that way. When sexual assault happens, especially by someone that we know, like, or trusted, our brain has a really hard time understanding why someone we know, like, or trust would do something like that. So our brain tries to justify it in different ways, and because we don't want to fight someone we know, like, or trust, because we know that we're probably going to see them again, flight doesn't really make sense. So we freeze or we people please by fawning, and we let it happen, and it's going, because in our brain's world, that is the easiest way to deal with it in the moment. And then the brain tries to justify, and it tries to make it easier for us to process or repress. It tries to minimize that event to keep you safe until you are ready to process, and until you have that safe space to process through all those emotions and for you to heal from it. So, this is my message to you, and what I want you to do watching this video right now. I want you to forgive yourself for letting it happen. I want you to forgive yourself for doing the best you could in that moment, even if it's not the same choice that you would make now.